Hey everybody, so today we are going live and we are talking about this newer, let me go grab it, talking about this newer 60 watt studio light. Interesting because they've come out with a few lights lately that are COB lights. We're going to do a little bit of an unboxing, first impressions, and really kind of get into the nitty gritty on why nobody's been talking about this light since it's been out for a while. And more on that after this. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Geoff Fagien. I'm a filmmaker and director of photography based in South Florida. And today we are going to talk about, like I said in the intro, this cool little light from Neewer, their 60 watt studio light. Now, they've had a different variation of their 60 watt light. They came out with basically, I don't know if you want to call it a clone of the Godox SL60W, but it is the exact same light as their other version. Their other version of this is the exact same light. Maybe they use the same manufacturer as Godox does. But what's interesting is I've seen that light around and I've seen this light around, but I never really see anybody talking about it. And it's nice. It's small. Apparently, it's quieter than the SL60. So let's open this up. Let's look at the build quality. Let's see what this light is about. A little background, I actually use an SL60W for most of my in-home studio work. I'm using an SL60W right now. The part of the drawback, the advantages to them is that they're really cheap, they're high output, and they're really good in studio settings. The drawback is they're only 60 watts. So compared to a light like a 120D, it's about half the output. But depending on what you're shooting, you may not need that full output. For instance, here in the studio with the SL60W, I actually have it right here, and it actually has double diffusion on, which of course lowers the overall light output. But I'm not even using this thing at 100%. I have this thing, it's pretty much right in front of my face. You just can't see it in camera, but this thing's at like 20% and double diffused. So you can get a lot of really good uses out of lights like these. And I also, the reason I picked this up, it wasn't sent to me. I actually got on Amazon Prime Day for $61 compared to the I think it's like $130, $140 for the SL60, which is still a bargain for those kinds of lights. But for $61, I had to pick this up and give it a peek. So let's take a look at the light and see what it has. All right, so I don't have the second camera set up today. So I'll kind of do the unboxing really quickly this way and pull the light out because that's really the most important. So it's got this big AC adapter. They're pretty much needed on these lights because the cool part about them is they're light. They don't have a lot of different pieces, but the bad part is, you're going to have that big AC light. Let's pull this out. It looks like it's all one piece with the styrofoam. There we go. And that's it. This is the light. All right. Nice small package. Pull this thing out. That's part of the reason I actually did not set up the other camera because I knew that was going to be a super quick unboxing. So here we go. Here is the COB. So what's cool about this compared to the SL60W and Neewer's other light that is pretty much the SL60W clone. If you look at the chip on board, you'll see on this model, it's actually circular instead of square, which is great, especially, when using modifiers. So you don't have that kind of square fall off. You have that nice circular fall off on this. That was really the main complaint with some of the cheaper lights from Godox and some of the lights from Godox over the years. They've since changed. Pretty much all of their lights now are circular COBs. So that really isn't as much of an issue anymore. But again, this light is it was $61 on Prime Day. I think you could see the link in the description below. I believe now it went back up to about $90 or so. Still a bargain for a light like this. So let's look at the build quality. So pretty solid. It feels pretty similar to how the SL60W feels, but it's a little bit smaller. The cool part too is it doesn't have the mount coming out and protruding, so it won't take as much damage. It also comes with this cool little cover, which is great for traveling, because part of the reason I got this light is so I can, you know, put that little cap on, put it in my suitcase, and have an extra little 60-watt light. So you actually plug in the AC power from the side over here. And otherwise, it's a pretty compact light. It's got the Bowens mount, which is another really great thing. I think one thing we should probably test is the strength of the Bowens mount. So over here, I've got a Fresnel diffusion, Bowens mount diffusion. So let's pop this thing in, and the test is going to be how solid this Bowens mount diffusion is in here. So it's actually in here really solid. Because for a little background on why I needed to check this, one of the lights I received almost a year ago at this point was a Sokani X60. And that was a really cool COB light. It was circular as well, and it was super portable. The output was great, but it had two negatives. It was the fan quality, and the Bowens mount just was not good. It could not hold any diffusion other than the dish that it came with. So that, you know, pretty much you were stuck to just using that dish or an umbrella. So it wasn't the best, but the Bowens mount is very, very secure. If it can secure this, I would imagine it can pretty much secure most small diffusion. I don't know how well this thing would take like a massive softbox. I think that the next, I guess we should check is this mount tolerance right here. So it's built decent. You could probably put a small modifier on here. I don't know if I'd put anything more than maybe like a lantern type modifier on here just for the weight, but I will check this thing out, see if we can put maybe like a parabolic diffusion on here. It would be nice. I really like that I can put this Fresnel diffusion on. You guys may notice I actually have a color temperature orange on top of here. For the last, pretty much I was just using that the last time I had it on. I don't need it right now, but yeah, very stoked with this light. Maybe let's plug it in, see what kind of output we got. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Again, this is a live video today, kind of like a live testing video for this light, because the main thing is I don't really hear anybody talking about this light. So I wanted to kind of test for myself with how cheap this thing was on Prime Day and see if it works decently. So let's plug this bad boy in. And almost in. Oh. All right. Cord is nice and thin. All right. All right, so we're plugged in. Let's pop this bad boy on. It's got a little bit of a boot time. All right, so just like the SL60W, it does not go all the way down to 1%. As you can see right here, it goes down to 10% as the minimum. I'm going to try and not aim it on camera. Let's take off this Bowens mount diffusion, as that's going to actually... Oh, I thought it was going to... It was increasing light, but it was actually decreasing light a little bit. All right. This is at 100%. It's pretty solid, pretty solid. Really what I'm testing right now, sorry I didn't really put that in the live chat, is I'm testing at 100% how loud is the fan noise. And that's actually something we can test live since I got the microphone right here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put this thing all the way down to 10%. Put the microphone, put the fan, which is right here up at the top, up to the microphone, and do a little fan test live. So I'm gonna get all quiet. I'm gonna put it right up. So bear with me. Oh, let me gonna cover the light so we don't see that. Ready? So that is the fan noise at the lowest of 10%. And now let's go put, oh, you know what? I could just put the cap on. Don't know why I wasn't doing that. All right, so this is now at 100%. Let's check out the fan noise. So as you guys can see, I think the biggest advantage, the two big advantages this light has, one is the fan noise. For a 60-watt light that's relatively cheap, and I said by relatively, it's really cheap. Fan noise is very low for what this light can offer. I'm going to turn this bad boy off and unplug it, because that's really, the test we can do live. I don't want to have to go pick up a bunch of diffusions and do that live. So we'll kind of wrap this up here. So fan noise is relatively quiet. Very happy with it. The other thing is the Bowens mount is very strong for a cheap light like this. So you can put some diffusion on it. Again, I wouldn't put super heavy diffusion. And it's not that I think the Bowens mount can't handle it. It's that probably the yoke can't really handle it. It's not that I've definitely seen weaker yokes. Like, it's pretty strong again for the price point right here. It's just, I wouldn't put something heavier than this light itself on the Bowens mount. It's just going to put a lot of stress on this, but super stoked to use this. Again, this is really meant to be a travel light for me. And it's not supposed to be a fill, although it probably could be used as a fill. It's not supposed to be a key. It's really supposed to be a fill. But to have it as an emergency, it's 60 watts, has a nice output for indoors. Really happy with it. Now, little disclaimer, if you're trying to get this and use it for outdoors, probably wouldn't advise it. Although it has a nice output, it's not really strong enough to use outdoors, especially if you're going to put diffusion on this. You're not going to get, a great result. Even if you put diffusion, or even if you put like intensifiers, like if you put this Fresnel attachment or you put a dish on here, I just don't think you'll get enough light for outdoors. But if you're going to use this for studio work, if you're a content creator, if you're a filmmaker, making YouTube videos, I think these 60-watt lights are pretty great for the money. Again, I use an SL60W as my key light here in the studio, and I use a little LED panel as my fill. And even with the SL60, again, I mentioned this in the beginning of the video, but I use it at like 20%, and it's double diffused with a huge, it's like a 36-inch softbox, rectangular softbox. So I still don't use even that 60 watt to its full capabilities, and I'm super stoked with it. So to have an even more portable version of the SL60W from Neewer, very happy with it. Again, this wasn't sent to me. I just picked it up on Prime Day because it was so cheap. I figured, I got to test this thing out, do a little live unboxing and review of it, and let you guys know what I think about it. So before I go, I will check the chat, see if there's any questions. What is the fan noise on it? Why not film? Let me pull that up. So I don't know if you caught it. I put the fan noise kind of up here, kind of like an unscientific test, just because this is really good at isolating noise in front. Like I said, fan noise is pretty decent coming from a very cheap unit like this. So again, very happy. We'll absolutely bring it as a supplemental light, also an emergency light in case anything goes down, especially as production starts to ramp back up. And it's going to be pretty much everything I have coming up. It's going to be like low to medium scale production, but at the same time, it's going to even have lower amounts of staff on set, lower amounts of crew. So I'm to help me, I'm going to bring extra lights, these small lights, just to help be supplemental in case anything breaks. I can just have some extra lights hanging around. So if you guys have any other questions, I'll stick around for a few more minutes. But that's really it for this quick first impressions unboxing. Super happy to put this to work. I'm going to test it on some of my bigger soft boxes today, just to see how well the yoke can handle this. And I'll do a proper video on this light, I don't know, probably in a few weeks. I have a few videos actually coming out for those of you guys who are here. I have a video coming out on the D80 D4 Duo coming out probably next week. I did some of the filming this week. I'm going to do a little bit more this weekend, and I'll have that out next week. I also have a video, and I don't have the lens right here. It's actually in the living room on my red Komodo, but I have a video coming out on the Sigma 30mm Art EF. Which I didn't even know existed. I only knew about the Sigma 30 millimeter 1.4 for micro four thirds and E mount, but this is an EF mount, 30 millimeter 1.4 Sigma art. And I've been using it on the red Komodo. I'm very stoked with the images I've been getting. I want to do a video on that lens. I want to kind of do 2 videos, one with using it on the red Komodo and one with using it on the Pocket 4K. So is it okay as a main, sorry, let me pull it up. Adam Z is here. Adam, what's going on, man? So is it okay to use as a main key light for indoor purposes? So like I said, I am using a 60-watt light as my key. It really depends. Depends on what kind of diffusion you're going to use. It depends on how far the light is from the subject. Because again, the issue with the 60-watt lights is they have really good output for the money, but compared to a 120D, it's like half the output. So in situations like this, where my softbox is less than a foot away from my face, it's great. And I'm not even using it to full power. So if you're going to be within a few feet of your subject, yes, I think you can use one of these as a key light, depending on what kind of diffusion and look you're going for. But if it's going to be more than a few feet away, like you're going to have this thing like 10 feet away and diffused, then probably not. You probably would need something more powerful than this, but it really depends on the setting. I think for documentaries, I think this will be really great. I think for low end, independent filmmakers, budget filmmakers who are just getting started, I think this is a great option because this thing, even after Prime Day, is under $100. And I saw there was like a 10% off coupon or whatever. So it may even be like $80 or so once you apply that coupon. So yes, you could use this as a key light, but it depends on the situation, depends on what you're filming, depends on what you're doing and what your budget level is. So it could be used. I hope that answers your question, Adam. Why Not Film says, cool, thanks. And all right, guys. Well, again, it wasn't meant to be a crazy long stream like the one was on Tuesday, but I wanted to just kind of talk about this light, especially as some new camera owners are now coming into the fold with the Komodo released, some other cameras like from Lumix. Actually Nikon released new versions of their Z cameras, which was pretty interesting. Probably wouldn't get them, but interesting to see. So again, this is when you're spending all the money on cameras, it's great to spend money on lighting, sound, and this is a great budget option for the money. Again, just to recap at the end of the video here, the pluses of this light are the fan noise is pretty decently quiet. Which is very interesting from a light this cheap. And then also the Bowens mount is pretty strong for what it is. Again, this thing does, it has metal construction in the center, plastic construction on the outer edges. So again, if this thing takes a beating, I don't know how well it will last. I'm still planning on using it as a travel light, but I wouldn't, I don't know if this thing would survive like a 10-foot fall. But I mean, I got it for $61, so I can't really complain that much on a light like this. So cool, guys. All right. Well, thank you for joining me. Meant this to be a short and sweet live stream. So we'll have again, the review on the Deity D4 Duo, which, by the way, I love that microphone. I'll tell you that even before that review comes out, and they're not paying me to say that. It is great. I'm great for scratch audio and vlogging. For those purposes. But yeah, I'm excited to come out with that video and the Sigma 30 millimeter 1.4. So if you guys are interested in seeing those videos or more videos like that, or even seeing these live streams, make sure you hit that subscribe and notification bell. If you got knowledge out of today's video, make sure you guys hit that like button. It helps get the video out there. And thank you again for tuning in, everybody. It's been a pleasure coming to you live from the Reach Film Studio, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.